Welcome to the Blue Swan Podcast. Today we have Grammy Award winner and founder of the Pandora's Box virtual reality composition, Nadeem Majdalany.
The reason we do these things, right, is to shamelessly and selflessly promote the products we're doing. And so we can get you enough endorsements to buy an installed basketball court in your house.
Let's go to Pandora's Box.
Yeah.
So I saw it. You've got real life animation of character and sitting there in the splits, spinning around doing yoga.
So Phoenix of Atlantis was the jumping off point for myself rather than I had been working on Pandora's Box since 2016 as an idea of a cube, a physical box, which would be a score as well. And I sketched it out. I drew and then I created every version of it from a small cardboard prototype to a large, heavy, carpentried wooden version, which weighed 283 pounds. And then finally, with a wonderful friend, we came up with the 60-pound version, which is the version you see. There's more lore behind that on the knobs and things, but it gets pretty dark.
Yeah, but there's darkness, light, and particles.
Story of a lot of the making of this is this interchange of people intersecting in your life. When I started on this journey in 2023, so 2023, I had 423 meetings. I had more meetings than there were days of the year. When January 2024 came around, that was the month that broke my back for the rest of the year because I had reached this breaking point and I decided to take things into my own hands. And I just did everything that I could do. And it helped me a lot dealing with this overloading of stress. And you can't control anyone, but you can do it yourself. You can control your actions and what you do.
People try to always talk about how everything is a team effort, and that's true. It's impossible to go it alone. Nobody does that.
No.
But at the same time, there's a focal point where you kind of have to zone in, and sometimes that means like going in your own direction and then meeting people along the way who create the same vision at the same kind of velocity. When you look at the artwork for Phoenix of Atlantis, and then you look at the graphic design for Pandora's Box, there's a sizable amount of overlap. You've got DNA sequence in the base of the Phoenix. You've got tree branches for wings. And of course, it's got the Greek origin because you were involved in, I believe, like Greek orchestra way back. How did that chapter merge into Pandora's Box?
So I was about 19, 20 years old. I was very young and impressionable when I started conducting. And I learned from some very wonderful humans. Their lessons and way of teaching shaped the way I am. And it also helped me see the world and people in a very unique and loving way, and balancing out that heavy load we all carry, bringing that energy into your conducting and as a psychological way of using that in the music makes the music happen.
So when we talked over the phone, you had a pretty crazy story. And one of the things that's fun to hear about that is that everybody looks at people, whether they're entrepreneurs or they're entertainers, and they're like, wow, like you have a Grammy. There's the path to getting there, and then there's actually being there. And so if you don't mind, would you be willing to discuss living in New York and then getting to where you are with the Grammys and everything else and the massive success?
While in college, I tried and I did everything I possibly could because I came from Canada and I just wanted to make the most of my limited time here. So I just did everything I possibly could. I got so fortunate. I scored my first movie in 2006. It was a feature film called The Seven Swords from that came the parties and the invitations and all the noise that comes along with a successful film. Then took me to New York, where I worked in the field of advertising, and that's always been a passion of mine. And I got to do Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week and different things like that. And then everything was just over in a blink of an eye because I did not want to play ball with the powers that be, behave in criminal activity. Let's just say that. So they took everything away. And I ended up sleeping on the subway. I slept on the N train, and because I could get the longest amount of sleep at night. And I ran into a friend of mine after I think about a month or so, and I crashed on his floor for a bit so I can get pieces of my life back together. And I just started up again. But in that duration, I never stopped. I made my own short film called The Capo. I also directed a music video, and then I pursued a master's degree. I wrote operas and ballets. I never stopped writing. And I found a way. I found a way to survive on basics. And then in 2010, I was flown out here to work on a film called Hopeless. And I said, I hate it here. I'll never live here. And that's when the universe had other plans because I never left. And I built a whole career, life, kids now. And yeah, everything is, I love it here. And now I'll never leave.
Nice. When I first talked to people and thought of moving to LA, I hated the culture because I had also never spent much time there.
Oh, I just didn't like that there was no subway I could take. That's why. I had to have a car.
The subway, then there's the highway in LA. LA is like a giant traffic jam, but it's
I will tell you, my parallel parking skills are top notch.
pray to God every time I parallel park it. So when you take the driving exam out of state, out of like DC or California, they don't test parallel parking. Drivers in LA are just a different breed. But all of that fun aside, with Pandora's Box, you've got your own little essence of video Ouija. There was this episode of a TV show called Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
And so in that episode, it's got this shaman. And so he's sitting there in Adidas sneakers, banging on the ground with a stick, chanting like, "Arise, chicken, arise." And of course, they bring back Ultra Mega Chicken, which is this giant robot chicken. And in one of your previous podcasts, you mentioned dressing up your daughter as a chicken.
That was her first Halloween costume.
Are you willing to
show a picture? I've never shown my children, but continue while I look for Scarlett dressed as a chicken.
One of the issues with media in LA is that there's this obsession with image and public relations, and that's fine because everybody's manager wants to toss it around. But the truth of the matter is that almost everybody is happy to discuss their children.
My mom and dad sent this Halloween costume to her. She was 1 year old. I love this picture. It really made me laugh too, as a peacock. You know, if people can do that to their dogs, then why can't we do it to our kids?
But looking back, I remember my dad dressed me up as a ninja, 5 years old. You don't see the gears turning at 30. I look back, it's like, oh my God.
Oh,
I guess
here
like,
it is.
you know, condition your children.
There's Scarlett's chicken.
That's adorable. We've also discussed a passion for water percussion. And
Oh, yeah.
the science and the physics of impact in water is different. And so it does alter the trajectory of the sound. And so I'm curious to see why you like water percussion over regular percussion.
I have a Grammy winner certificate, and it says percussionist on it. I'm also an endorsed premier artist with Marimba One. The idea of my love for percussion came to me when I started composing solo timpani pieces. It was like this vacancy in the solo timpani repertoire. And I had become obsessed with timpani. I created these gloves with marbles on them so you could hit different things, which led to the contributions I did on the first Grammy win, the Mythologies album, where I recorded water that fell from the sky, also known as rain. And then I used what naturally occurred by chance. I didn't change any of the jars.
I played the drums in high school,
Yeah.
so my first kit was there was a Tama 4 piece, and so
Maple?
I think he used Japan oak drumsticks. It had been maple for the base of the drums, and then Sabian cymbals all
Oh,
across.
nice. Okay.
I don't know why I had this thing against Zildjian. It's like they were good, but it sounded a little too bright.
It's fine. Zildjian's not going to send you anything now, but I don't think he was looking for an endorsement from Zildjian. Sabian, send him stuff.
If either Sabian or Zildjian is listening and they're interested in sponsoring me, let me know sort of which one, and then I can clip this and re-release it according to whoever's offer is better. On a completely
See, I found the humor in that.
sarcasm.
No one has it anymore. Sarcasm's like Taco Bell. Everyone loves it, but you're afraid to eat it.
I would hope that sarcasm these days is prepared a little bit better than Taco Bell. The sarcasm kind of shooting out of everywhere. One of the guitarists that I used to play in a band with talked about how his sister couldn't get a soft taco because the meat gun was broken.
Maybe we should go on a tour there. I'll call them up, see if they give out tours.
Do it.
Yeah.
I can dual wield sour cream guacamole, like classical.
Beethoven's my favorite.
Yeah.
Beethoven's last words were, "It's a shame we'll never know how it tasted." And he drank a lot of wine. He loved drinking. You know, now we would have subscription boxes come to your place. So Beethoven had wine deliveries. As he was dying, his friends were hanging around. He was very bedridden, but also called crazy, slightly despised, didn't really write for the aristocracy, wrote for man and humanity and showing the human condition through his music. Also, in Pandora's Box, I pay homage to Beethoven and I hide little 4-measure excerpts of different string quartet parts or symphonic Easter eggs. There were only 2 people who found them so far. Corinne and Megan, you guys know who you are. Good job. Scorsese who says this. You watch a movie once and then you'll watch it again 10 years later and it has a different meaning for you. So with Pandora's Box, as I step into my full role as director, because I'd done a music video, I did 3 short films that have done the award circuit. Just on those 3 films have amassed a little over 40 awards.
You know, in both Hollywood and life, it's sort of like Star Wars. And so there's a light and then there's a dark side.
The light side and the happiest side is when you see the most beautiful faces, when you see the ones with the genuine feel that they put into trying to capitalize on their work, their art, their craft, and they go at it again and again, rejection after rejection, and they keep going, and then they magnetically draw and sink in other people like that, and they create such beautiful things. There are 200 people that worked on this movie.
Yeah.
That's 200 beautiful faces. I am not an easy person to work with, by the way. I know I have my faults and weaknesses, and I you know, I'm a bit of a pain in the ass to deal with, but I'm passionate and I'm caring, and I do like seeing people win. There's a great Charles Bukowski poem called Philippe's, and it's one of my favorite places to eat at in LA. You ever been?
Ham on Rye was Bukowski.
Yeah, at the end of the poem, it says, "Their coffee is still 5 cents. And for a nickel at 5 in the morning, you can see the most beautiful faces in all of Los Angeles." On the dark side of the coin, this is the land of fake. So you just have to know it exists, but you don't have to play. You don't have to sit in the hot tub. There's always like the Grammy people that gravitate to each other. It's hard to stay in the hot tub with all those people for so long until you start getting annoyed because no one's actually doing anything. They're all talking about doing stuff.
It's a really, really blunt question to ask somebody with a Grammy, but I think that everybody's human at the end of the day. In LA, there's this obsession image, and then there's the creativity, there's the genuine appreciation, enjoyment of one's craft behind that. And the manufactured image is a big part of it.
They only want to see and celebrate whatever they're doing. Certain awards companies also just get rid of categories entirely. If one of the people on the ballots doesn't happen to make $1 million a film and they decide they don't want to give that person the award, so they'd rather just get rid of the category.
I feel like I'm the new kid on the block and I'm getting schooled by everybody who's been here a long time. And it's enlightening. So you've talked about how culinary art is art, just like music.
Oh, absolutely.
Any cooks that you appreciate as much as Beethoven?
Definitely Anthony Bourdain. There's a lot of similarities, a common ground. I like punk a lot too. He has great music taste. I cook a lot every day. I cook for the kids. I cook for my friends. I do this large Thanksgiving that I cook for like about 90 people. I call it my 2-day Thanksgiving. There's something beautiful about finding ingredients and then composing something. Same thing about finding the right notes and composing something. Tom Waits says, songs are interesting things to be doing with the air.
In Japanese cooking, there's this thing called omakase, where
Yeah.
it's created by the chef, and good chefs know how to chop up and rearrange the geometry the same way. As a visual effects developer, building something like Pandora's box. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank
and
you.
having this
Yeah.
podcast.
I loved it.